Manx Radio Sports, brought to you by The Print Shed. Visit theprintshediom.com today to set up your personalised web shop for your sports club or business.
Two minutes past 5 here on Manx Radio AM, and this is Classifieds. Thank you as always for joining us. Coming up over the course of the next hour, we'll be looking at everything that has happened on the island. In football, well, match of the day isn't the word to describe today. I think the word of the day today in football is postponements. Tony Mepham is here in the studio. We'll catch up with him very shortly. Rugby, we have 3 games to bring you. Dave Christian joins us to go through everything that's happened there. And of course, in hockey, we've had league action resume on Ireland. We'll go through some of the results that have happened today, and there has been some big results. But first, as always, we'll start with the classified results. And we start with football and the ECAP FA Cup. Union Mills against Colby, postponed. Castletown against Corinthians, postponed. St Mary's 8, Douglas Royal 0. Laxey against Braddon, postponed. Peel against Pulrose, postponed. Moran against Russian, postponed. Douglas High School and Old Boys, postponed. Ramsey Youth Centre against St John's, postponed. Canada Life Men's Premier League, the one game that was meant to take place there between Foxdale and Ramsey, postponed. Arden and Druggan Division 2, the one game that was meant to happen there between Governors Athletic against Douglas and District, postponed. Canada Life Combination 1, all fixtures, postponed. Arden and Druggan Combination 2, all fixtures, postponed. In rugby, Regional 2 Northwest, Douglas 3, Birkenhead Park 17. Women's NC 2 North South, Vagabonds 31, Crewe and Nantwich 10. And then in the Harford Homes Manx Cup, Southern Nomads 21, Vagabonds 7. Hockey, Ladies Premier League, Vikings A 0, Harlequins A 1. Valkyries A1, Backers A2. Castletown B1, Castletown A8. Men's Premier League, Harlequins A7, Vikings B0. Vikings A5, Castletown A0. Backers A3, Valkyries A1. Ladies Division 1, Ramsey A1, Backers B1. Backers C0, Valkyries B8. Vikings against Castletown C is a late result. Men's Division 1, Castletown B2, Valkyries B5. Backers B v Ramsey and Harlequins B v Valkyries C are all late results. Ladies Division 2, Valkyries C2, Castletown D0. And then Harlequins B4, Ramsey B4. Men's Division 2, Harlequins C4, Castletown C2. Vikings C3, Backers C3. Ramsey B against Backers Colts, a late result. Finally, in the mixed under-15s league, Harlequins v Vikings, a late result. And then Castletown Sabres against Valkyries is the evening kickoff at King William's College. That kicks off at 5:05. So that is your classified result. We're going to go to Dave Christian first to look at all things rugby. Dave, a very good evening to you. Let's start with Regional 2 Northwest, Douglas against Birkenhead Park.
Yeah, Ben, what a surprise. I figured, and obviously as a pundit, I clearly get things wrong all the time, but I figured Douglas had a reasonable chance of pulling off a win here. They lost 17-3, and I'm just actually writing it up now for the Manx Radio website, and I'm just going to describe it as the Douglas roller coaster, because last week, a fantastic win away. They'd had a bad patch of form. The away win last week with a bonus point. The other teams around them lost. They made some ground on the leaders. They established a buffer on the chasing pack. And this week we've reached the top of the roller coaster and we're rapidly heading downhill because that result is awful. They're the only team, it's the only match in the division today. Everybody else plays next week. And Douglas with a 5-point victory today would have been up to second place and really cementing their position in the playoff places. But today's result means that everybody else now has a game in hand. Douglas got nothing from the game. There was not even a losing bonus point in there for them. So all in all, it's not a good result for them. We'll have to wait and see how things go next Saturday with the other teams. They will remain in fourth no matter what. Because they've got a 6-point buffer behind them to their nearest chasing rivals, and the maximum number of championship points you can win in a game is 5. So Douglas will remain fourth, but everybody else has got the opportunity to creep closer. And the 3 teams above them in the standings, who are all challenging for those playoff places, they've got the opportunity now to extend away from Douglas. So all in all, pretty much a disaster for them today. The only points on the board for Douglas today, Matty Woods. Matty, I think he was in the centre today, but he kicked a penalty for them. But other than that, no, there was nothing to write home about in that game. And I think they'll be very disappointed. And I'm sure that will be worked on in the training ground over the next couple of weeks as they get ready for their next match. But they have a week off next week. That'll give them a chance to allow battered bodies time to recover. And maybe the missing catalyst is skipper Blake Snell. He's been out for a few weeks now. Maybe, just maybe, this fortnight break now will give him the opportunity to get back to fitness and maybe push the team on a little bit. But no, that's not a good result for them today, and they'll be best just to let that one get behind them, I think.
Then we have the women's NC2 North-South. This is the game you went to today. I bet it was bleak up at Balafletcher. Vagabonds, though, coming away with the win, 31 points to 10 over Crewe and Atwich.
You know, I've been at Balafletcher quite a few times, and I've been there in some atrocious weather as well. Today wasn't the worst I've experienced. I've got a pair of gloves, so my hands were reasonably warm. I was shivering a little bit at the end. We had a little bit of a rain shower, but it wasn't too bad. And the wind was coming from the east, so it was at me back rather than into my face from where I was standing. So not too uncomfortable. Great stuff from Vagabonds, though. 31-10, solid win. They were 24-0 up at half-time. And it all started, I think, in the 8th minute. I think it was Freya Crowe who made the break and got them in for a try. And she scored in every game but one so far this season. So a tremendous record from Freya. From the restart, she was in again. The Crewe kicked the ball deep into Vagabond's territory. Somebody flipped it over to Creya and she made a line break. And once she got through, nobody could catch her. And Samuel McDonald converted that one. They were 12-0 up with just about 10 minutes played. So fantastic start. They got further ahead, Bea O'Neill with a try. That was on around 15 minutes. And about 5 minutes before half-time, Becky Dunn went in for one. And with Sammy Mack adding another conversion now, that's 24-0 at half-time. And you thought they would go on. They had the win behind them in the second half. The score was looking like it could be built up. But fair play to Crewe and Nantwich. They're a gritty bunch. Vagabonds had most of the ball inside the Crewe half in the second half, and they only managed to cross the line just the once. Becky Dunn went in for her second of the game, and in amongst all that, Crewe got two at the other end, with the skipper Jordan Morris picked up a try. There was one at the end for Mel Latham. So pretty well done for Crewe for sticking in there. They were very, very happy to be able to score the second try as well. It was the final play of the game when they got that one. And they were a really happy bunch going off the field. The result doesn't really give Vagabonds any sort of impetus up the table. They were in 5th place. They're probably going to stay in 5th place, but they'll be watching the results keenly tomorrow afternoon because there's an opportunity for them to close the gap on the leading bunch and just maybe sneak in there towards the end of the season. But they beat Crewe away. They beat them at home now. That's a double for Vagabonds. So happy days for them. I'm sure the girls they'll be sitting watching the England-Wales game now, I would think. But they'll be celebrating up there at Ballyfletcher, and deservedly so too.
Absolutely. And then finally, in the Harford Homes Manx Cup, Southern Nomads took on Vagabonds, and Southern Nomads took the win by 21 points to 7.
Yeah, punditry shame again. I'll be eating a big slice of humble pie tonight because I figured that was a Vagabonds win all day. They had the stronger pack of forwards. Nomads had the slightly weaker pack of forwards. We watched them against Western Vikings a couple of weeks ago, and they were getting shunted off their own ball at times. But 21-7, a great win for Nomads. It's a bit of a shock for Vagabonds in the opening stages of the Manx Cup as well, and a bit of a wake-up call maybe for Douglas Celts and for Ramsey, because this Nomads team, if they can push Vagabonds out of the way, they're capable of beating anybody. Tries for Nomads, well, there were 3 of them, and all converted as well by Mark Young. 14-0 it was at half-time. Clayton Matthews with a try, Richard Seed with a try, and in the second half, George Collister in with one as well. Don't have Vagabond scorers. It is the opening round of the Manx Cup, but it's not a knockout cup, so Vagabonds aren't out of it just yet. It's played on a round-robin league basis, and the top 2 sides will play off for the final. So Nomads got a foot in the door there with that win. Vagabonds were going to have to win their next 2 games. And I think the next Vagabonds game is on the 28th of February, and it is against Ramsey, and it's a double header. It's Vagabonds versus Ramsey in the County Street ADM Lancashire and Cheshire League, but it's also going to count for the Manx Cup. So everything on the plate up there at Ballyfletcher on the 28th, and we'll be there to cover that for Saturday Live without a doubt.
Brilliant stuff, Dave. Looking ahead to next weekend, what's on the cards?
We've got County Street ADM, Lancashire, Cheshire. It is the start of Phase 2 of the competition. In Phase 1, there were 14 teams. Everybody plays each other once, and the league then splits into 2 parts. A major league and a minor league, I think they're calling it. And Ramsey and Vagabonds both in the minor league. And next week it is the first round of fixtures, and we will have Ramsey versus Duckinfield. That's at the Merrick Park, and that will kick off at 1:30. And we'll be there for Saturday Live for that one too.
Dave, as always, thank you very much. You have a great weekend, and we will speak to you next week. Dave Christian there, talking all things rugby.
Manx Radio Sports, brought to you by The Print Shed. Visit theprintshediom.com today to set up your personalised web shop for your sports club or business.
5:15 here on Classifieds, and we are going to turn to football. And, well, there's a lot of postponements on the sheet here, but I will bring Tony Mepham in, and I'll give Michelle Kane credit for this, because I was speaking to her before I came on air, and the best way she said to maybe describe it is match of the day is not the word to describe it. Probably postponement is the word to describe today, really. I feel for you, because as we talked about last night on Friday Sport, you said you had over 100 rearranged fixtures still to get scheduled in. And today's probably not helped and made things a lot worse.
Yeah, it has. Because I had a little bit of spare time, I was quite sad and wrote down what fixtures were behind in each league, roughly, because some of the postponements haven't gone in, so there's probably a few more, to be fair. But in the Premier League, we're 23 behind. Division 2, we're 16 behind, and that's without the third set of fixtures that come into play. But we've got a few of them played, so we're not too bad on that. Combination 1, 19. Combination 2, 15, and then we've got the Masters 9 fixtures to play in the women 6, but we've got 2 more Masters postponed today, so that'll be 11. So you add all that up and you're near enough 100. So there's an awful lot to sort out, and we'll get there because we've been at this stage and probably about this time when the big flood was on. I think it was 2004, and we were over 200. So we hurtle through them, but it's an awful lot to ask for players at the end stage of the season, and also with TT sort of coming in, we have to be sort of done and dusted by roughly the 23rd of May. So there's an awful lot to do. We'll bring the night games in probably maybe the 31st of March for the clubs that are way behind. It'll have to be an earlier kick-off, and hopefully they can accommodate us with people getting away from work a little bit earlier. But we'll see how it goes. But next week now we've got 7 ECAP FA Cup games to play, so we'll lose fixtures next week. But I had a look at the fixtures at lunchtime just to see what it was for the 14th, and there's a lot of clubs that were sort of playing teams that were in the cup as well. So it's not going to be too much. We're going to lose a couple of combination games, but they always do have the option. And by all means, if you want to do it, let us know. We'll put the games on Sunday, because it's getting to the stage now where the boys are just fed up. They just want to play football. They've come back from Christmas. They've enjoyed that, and at the moment, no football to play.
So the one game that did go ahead, there was another fixture that did go ahead. I don't know if you want to talk about it. It got to half time, but was abandoned because the pitch ended up seeing better days.
Yeah, I think I spoke to Ryan Kelly, and they were doing a pitch inspection. They looked at it. It was 50-50. So to be honest with you, it should have been called then, if it's that close. But they said they wait for the referee to make the decision. And, the answer was that the club were happy enough for the pitch to get cut up because they've got a second one up there. But after 45 minutes, I think it was 3-0 to Union Mills. The referee, Andy Glover, just said, no chance. This pitch is starting to become dangerous now. There might have been a difference of opinion, but the referee's the man in control, and Andy Glover's a very, very experienced referee, a good referee, and will have made the right decision. He's probably said, well, let's see how the pitch goes, and if you're happy enough with it to get cut up, if it's looking dangerous at half-time, we'll bin it, and that's what they've done. So that game gets rearranged, and we'll probably put them all, we're going to put them all on next week, and we're going to have to be clever because, when you look at Easter, it's, I think, 3rd, 4th of April, and from the quarterfinals to the semi-finals, they're quite close to each other, so we've got to get this going.
Absolutely. And the game that went ahead and managed to finish, and you were at, was St Mary's, and they were playing Douglas Royal. 8-0 winners to St Mary's. So St Mary's are in the hat, but the draw's not happening tonight.
No, we're not going to do the draw, and thanks to sponsors, ECAP, they understand, and Carl Conroy will come up next week and do the draw. But today the game, St Mary's against Douglas Royal, I think we always knew it was going to be a day for St Mary's because they're a really good side. And when you see that team out there, there's no Jack McVeigh, no Johnny Myers, no Frank Jones, but there's still enough quality in there. And it didn't take long. It was 4 minutes when Therese Thompson scored the first goal. It was good work down the right-hand side, and Therese was loitering, if you like to say, by the left-hand side of the post, and tucked it away with his right foot in between the goalkeeper and the post, and 1-0 it was. And then 5 minutes later, Matthew Kent-Lloyd got a touch to make it 2-0, and it just, I'm not saying St Mary's had any nerves, but if they did, it just settles them. And then Joe Burkhurst, and I felt sorry for Luca on this one, who was the right full-back for Douglas Royal, because he looked to play the ball into his centre-back and unfortunately sliced it a little bit, and St Mary's player picked it up, Luke Stewart that is, and Joe Burkhurst picked it up on the right-hand side, and he's a really good player and rifled it in to make it 3-0. Then it was Chris Aspridge who made it 4-0 just before half-time, and St Mary's absolutely cruising, and there's nothing better than when you're sort of leading a game and just to, sort of stamp your hand on it, is that 46 minutes Therese Thompson got his second of the game to make it 5-0, and they're absolutely flying then, and what a substitute to bring on in the second half. And happy birthday to Mark Wolfenden's daughter, because he missed the first half because it was his daughter's birthday party, and came on out on the second half and scored one on that 65 and then got his second. That was a peach of a shot on 79 to make it 7. And then right at the end, unfortunately, Douglas Royal conceded a penalty and Mark Wolfenden took it. Goalkeeper went left-hand side and Mark put it right-hand side, and there it was, 8-0, and great performance. And I've said it to you, Ben, I've said it to Rob, that St Mary's not be able to win the league, but I think they'll have a certain say of who will win the league, because I think they'll give Peel and Corinthians a game, and it's up to Corinthians and Peel to step up to the mark and see if they can get the 3 points. But, bad day in the office, really. And when I looked out the window this morning at ridiculous times, just I could hear the rain, and I just thought there's not going to be much on, and it just ended up with the one going.
So St Mary's are in the hat for next weekend's draw. Like you say, you've got a guest coming up to do that draw. Just remind us again who that is again.
Yeah, Carl Conroy will come up. Carl's a great lad. He does a good draw and actually always pulls a good draw out of the bag. But as I say, the league games I'll work on it tonight after the FC Isle of Man game, and we'll try and get it out in the morning if we can to the clubs, because they'll want to know, because there's a lot of disruption for next week's fixtures.
Absolutely. While we've got time, we might as well have a chat about things in general. I noticed on social media this week there was a big meeting with the FA and the referees. Much to bring on that one?
Yeah, it's more of just trying to persuade new people to take up refereeing, because we are really struggling with numbers. It's okay that the young people are coming in and sort of qualifying and then going into junior league. That's great, because they'll just progress, they'll learn, and then they'll hopefully come into senior football. But we need some senior referees, and we're looking any age really, who can sort of come in and take up the refereeing, because this may be the last course before the end of the season. They might be able to squeeze another one in, but we're not getting enough people through. And I think certainly the FA and the Referee Society need to sit down and get a plan here, and they need to work together, because at the moment I think it's disjointed. I think one party's saying, well, we do it this way, and another party's doing it that way. I'm not putting blame on any of them, but let's work together, guys, and let's see if we can sort this problem out, because these officials are the ones that we want in place, to help us with this massive backlog of fixtures that we're going to have, because we know we're going to lose referees here with injuries, so we need some more to come in. But also for the start of the 26-27 season, we need to get people qualified, and ideal time now is to gain the experience.
Absolutely. And for people that are listening, what age can they start refereeing or officiating at?
Well, any age, to be honest with you. There's some referees there, or new referees in at 14 years of age. They're only doing junior league because you've got safeguarding and stuff like that. But like 16 is acceptable, and then there are, sort of, if you like, chaperones or mentors or whatever with them. You're not thrown in the deep end. But I think what's important is that the more experienced referees, help these young referees to develop and make them feel confident. And there's so many good referees out there that I think it's an easy fix for them. But it's just, people are sat at home and saying, oh, it's New Year now, gone now, and, what we're going to do. Take up the whistle, give it a go. And if you don't like it, then, pack it in. But you're still a referee, and you can drift in whenever you want. But it is getting really difficult now, because we're not getting the referees in that we need to. It's all right saying we've got 60 referees registered, but we've got about 25 actually practicing. So it's just a battle for Rob Slinger every single week to try and cover the games, and there's always someone away, or we accept that, and someone injured. We just need people there who can step in and cover them games, and even if they don't want to do it every week.
Well, team news has just dropped in here to the studio. Darren Timpson is going to be commentating with yourself down at the Bowl this evening. So your FC Isle of Man starting lineup is as followed. In goal is Killier, Sherry, Kane, Watson, Maitland, Clark, Whitley, Crook, Pinnington, Higgins and Kelly. And your substitute bench is Best, Dudley, Gerrard, Carl Wadder and Tricarda.
Yeah, I think it's that's a pretty good squad, that, to be fair, when you look right the way through. I look defensively, there's good, there's experience. Adam Killian, I'm sure, will be letting me know that he scored last week. Because I was listening to the commentary
I didn't believe it until I actually seen the video evidence of it. I thought, no, surely not. The keeper's not gone and scored. And then the video evidence come out and proved that, yes, he did score. It was a close call, but the ball crossed the line.
Yeah, and Kill's a character. He really is a character, because I remember someone saying he'll probably get sent off now after celebrating so much. But I listened to Rob's commentary and I thought he was going to have a heart attack, because you couldn't have asked for a better time to score. But you look at that there, Sean Kelly's in there, he's important, he score goals. But I think where they've turned the corner a little bit in recent weeks, because when you look at it last week, Ben, they were 4-1 down, and then they got it back into it. And when you've got Charlie Higgins now back from suspension, whatever side he's playing on, left or right, Steve Whitley now is back in the form that we know. I'm going to stick my neck out here. I think Steve Whitley's one of the best players in Manx football, and you need him to be at his best. And I think he's been a little bit quiet this season, but you can't keep pummeling the games in like he has been, and not have a rest time somewhere along the line. And maybe he's had that. But midfield there, it'll work well. And when you look at defensively, you've got Callum Cherry in there. You've got Alex Maitland. You've also got Carl Clark, who's absolutely amazing for the age that he is. You've got Josh Kane, who deserves his little spot in there. And then when you look at the subs bench, you've got Leo Tregertha, who's come into it. You've got Jamie Cadwallader, who are good young players who are coming through the system, being given their chance. And I think Rick Holder's doing a great job. And the good thing about it is you're noticing that our attacking sort of positions now are coming down the wings. And that's where Rick played. And you can't forget, Rick was £1 million player, well before, 1996, I think it was. I think he packed him maybe 1992, something like that. So he was a big player in English football. And he's filtering what experience and skill he's learned into the FC Isle of Man now, if you like, wing attacks, which is what they are, Charlie Higgins and Steve Whitley, because they both attack left and right and can both score goals. So it bodes well for tonight, because the team's only one place above them.
Absolutely, and of course that team that are visiting the island are Uxton Villa. So as you say, they are just sat above them. FC Isle Man are just sat above them. So could we be in for another thriller like last week, do you reckon?
I hope so, because it'll warm the body up, that's for sure. Because I'm doubled up here. I've got my fleece and my coat ready to go, and I know when I go out the studio I'm going to be freezing because I've got all my gear on now. But it's just really good. I know it's cold conditions, but good crowd last week. And as I say, I listened to the game. It was exciting. It looked as if it was all over, and then suddenly they all come back into it. So I wish them well. I hope they get another 3 points, and let's just put a bit of a charge on towards the end of the season, and then go again next year.
Absolutely. So, Tony, you are on commentary duties with Darren Timpson tonight. We just want to reassure people, Rob Pritchard is not with us this week. He's okay. He's not had any heart attack or anything after his reaction last weekend. He's having a week off this week, and rightly so. He deserves it. So, Tony, we'll let you go and get on down to the bowl, get wrapped up warm, and thank you very much as always.
Manx Radio Sports, brought to you by The Print Shed. Visit theprintshediom.com today to set up your personalised web shop for your sports club or business.
5:30 here on Classifieds Now. In case you missed it on Monday, Darren Timpson and Lewis Foster attended a netball training session last weekend. While the sport is historically known to be a woman's sport, or a girl's sport, on the island, the sport is growing in popularity with both men and boys. So much so that the Isle of Man Netball Association has launched its new Mixed Performance League. So, Darren Timpson and Lewis Foster met men's players James Arnold and Johnny Haste, and Manx Rams Rhiann Evans and Ashley Hall, Development Officer and League Director Lucy Ratcliffe, and Flo Kemp.
So the Performance League is taking place on Saturday nights up at the Roundhouse. Last night was the first one, so it was everyone kind of feeling their way into it. Really enjoyed it though. It was competitive, wasn't it? And I think everyone had a good time. It was a good watch as well. Stayed down for the second game after we played.
It's obviously great to have the women down, especially the really good women down, who just show you what you can do on a netball court.
But what do some of the Manx Rams think of men playing netball?
I think it's really good because we've
brought the men into netball, and we've played against them at in training sessions, but it's really good to make it a bit more competitive, where it means something, and to have that practice against men who have got a bigger jump, a bigger wingspan. So it's more like our international games.
Yeah, absolutely. We have to, I think with the Sunday League, we're playing the same people week in, week out for years. But then you add the men into the mix and you have to adapt your game for like the first time in quite a long time. And I think the men just bring a really nice vibe as well. It just makes it really fun.
Now it was time to talk to two of the people behind the scenes about the challenges faced with getting men into the sport.
It can be quite difficult starting to get more men involved. Obviously, it's around kind of the stigma around men's netball. So that's a really important barrier that we are starting to look at facing. But just starting from kind of the ground up, getting people involved nice and young. So we've got some now younger sessions, especially in the East now, that we can start kind of going from Manx Youth Games straight into club, and then hopefully just progressing from there.
And we now have leagues for under 11s, under 16s, under 13s,
under 13s
as well. And then once they're 14 or over, they are allowed to play in the senior leagues if they are ready to. If they're not ready to, then they stay in the junior leagues, and everybody's encouraged to play and get on court and just enjoy it. Primarily it's about having fun.
Manx Radio Sports, brought to you by The Print Shed. Visit theprintshediom.com today to set up your personalised web shop for your sports club or business.
Darren Timpson and Lewis Foster speaking to members of Isle of Man Netball Association there. And if you haven't watched the fantastic YouTube video of both Darren and Lewis in action playing netball, please do go to Manx Radio's sports website and have a watch of it. It is absolutely fantastic, and it's great to see netball getting a good recognition there. Plus, to decide who was the best netball player, Darren and Lewis had a shootout. Now, I'm not going to tell you who won because I want you to go and watch the video on Manx Radio Sports website and find out who won. But a fantastic watch by Lewis, fantastic watch of both Lewis and Darren taking part there in Isle of Man Netball. Now, at 26 minutes to 6 here on Classifieds, we're going to look at the hockey that has took place on the island and in the Ladies Premier League. The first game of the day seen a Castletown derby between Castletown B and Castletown A, and Castletown A came away 8-1 winners over their B team. The goal scorers for Castletown A were Lucy Allen with 3, Amy Sellers with 1, Dulcie Tier with 2, Kira Cooper with 1 and Alex Callow with 1, and the goal scorer for the B team was Millie Goody. Vikings A, though, took on Harlequins A at the NSC at 2:05, and this was a very close encounter, with Harlequins coming away with the win here by 1-0. The goal scorer for Harlequins was Molly Dennett. Valkyries A went into this weekend top of the league, and they are no longer now top of the league because they have suffered their first defeat of the season. They have lost by 2-1 to Backers A. The goal scorer for Valkyries A was Andrea Littlejohn, and for Backers A it was Lucy Cartwright and Sophie Hudson. Looking at the Men's Premier League, and the early game here was Harlequins A against Vikings B. Vikings B rooted at the bottom of the league, still looking for their first win of the season, and that wait carries on. They lost by 7-0 today over Harlequins A. Oren Blakemore with 2, Will Hassel with 1, Caleb Blakemore with 1, Tom Hurd with 1, and Alfie Swales with 1 for Harlequins A. Vikings A, though, had a great day in the south of the island. They beat Castletown A by 5-0. Nathan Evans with 2 goals, John Verrill with 1, Archie Cayley with 1, and Tom Burrows with 1. The final fixture in the Men's Premier League saw the current league leaders Backers A head to the west of the island to take on Valkyries A, and Backers A have come away with a 3-1 win. Elliot Reid with 2 goals and Johnny Callow with 1, with Valkyries goal scorer coming from Ollie Webster. Ladies Division 1, very, very close in this division, and it just shows in the results we've had today. Ramsey A took on Backers B in a close affair, and it ended 1-1. Victoria Garner for Ramsey A and Sienna Millwall for Backers B. Backers C, though, at the bottom of the league, were hoping for a better fortune today, possibly to try and maybe get something from their game today, and it's not gone the way they wanted. They have suffered an 8-0 defeat to the hands of Valkyries B. Millie Poppert with 3, Bonnie Ellis with 2, Ria Marr with 1, Steph Cottier with 1, and Lauren Kenyuk with 1 as well. Vikings B took on Castletown C in the late pushback in this division, and it was a very close affair in this one as well. A 1-1 draw as well. Amelia Kruk with the goal for Vikings B, and Sophie Vivian with the goal for Castletown C. Turning the page over now to Men's Division 1, and in this league, Castletown B played Valkyries B in the early game in this league, and it was a 5-2 win to Valkyries B. Neil Jacobs with 3, Ali Fipliano with 1, and Russ Miller with 1 for Valkyries B, with the goal scorers from Castletown B coming from Theo Henderson and Kieran Collister. We are awaiting a result from the Backers B Ramsey A game, which was a late pushback at QE2. We haven't had anything through as of yet. I'm just checking my screens here, and no, we haven't. So if you are listening, 166177 on text or email studio@manxradio.com. Unfortunately, WhatsApp is currently down in this studio, so we are unable to take your message on WhatsApp. The final fixture in this league saw Harlequins B take on Valkyries C. Valkyries C coming away with a 3-1 win here. Unfortunately, we don't have the Harlequins B goal scorer, but for Valkyries C, Greg Miller got 2 goals and Johnny Kane got 1 for himself as well. Ladies Division 2, though, Valkyries C played Castletown D. Valkyries C, top of the league coming into this weekend, and they are staying in that position this weekend following their 2-0 victory over Castletown C. Chloe Thomas and Poppy Kelly on the score sheet for the Westerners. An 8-goal thriller, though, at Ramsey Grammar School at 2:05 between Ramsey B and Harlequins B. 4 apiece, 4-4 it ended. The goal scorers for Ramsey were Jess Musgrave, Isla Russell, Kira Crane and Oriel Hinch for Ramsey B. And the goal scorers for Harlequins were Eleanor Hunter, Sophie Knighton and Ali Middleton with 2 goals. Ali, you have not retired. You can't tell me you have retired. You have not retired. 2 goals today. Good stuff there, Ali. Well done. Men's Division 2, Harlequins C played Castletown C in the early game in this league. This is a replay of the game that was played last weekend because these two met in the men's plate. Harlequins C coming away with that win in the men's plate, and Harlequins C have done it again today. They won by 4-2. The goal scorers for Castletown C were Barney Vivian and George Hampton, and the goal scorers for Harlequins C were Stu Gell, Aidan Leslie, Joey Wright, and some fella called Ben Cunningham. I don't know who he is, but yeah, he got on the score sheet as well. The top 2 in Men's Division 2, though, met as well in the early kickoff at the NSC between Backers C and Vikings C. 6 goals scored in this game. 3-3 it's ended. Christian Davis with 1, Jazz Slight with 1, and Carl Benyon with 1 for Backers C. Vikings C goal scorers Ollie Nandu with 1, and Sam Spooner with 2 goals. Now, that's a rare appearance. Sam Spooner out in the outfield there. Good stuff, my friend. 2 goals as well. Great stuff indeed. Ramsey B took on Backers Colts in the late pushback at Ramsey Grammar School, and it was a 4-1 win to Backers Colts over Ramsey B. The goal scorer for Ramsey B was Paul Hunter, and the goal scorers for Backers Colts were Cal Joyce, Richie Weir and Ryan Cartwright with 2 goals. Finally, in the mixed under-15s league, Harlequins played Vikings at the NSC at 3:35, and that was a 2-0 win to Harlequins C. Benji Barber and Aidan Leslie on the score sheet for Harlequins in that game. And of course, the game that is currently in progress down at King William's College, the late game at 5:05, which pushed back between Castletown Savers and Valkyries. As soon as we get that result through, we'll put it all up on Manx Radio Sports website.
Manx Radio Sports, brought to you by The Print Shed. Visit theprintshediom.com today to set up your personalised web shop for your sports club or business.
And with the time at 18 minutes to 6 here, a rather weather-affected classified show, we'll leave you with what we've got of headlines. In Manx football, well, it's not match of the day, word of the day, postponement. However, though, we did get one game that went ahead, and that was in the ECAP FA Cup. St Mary's coming away with the win there over Douglas and Royal, 8-0. St Mary's are into the hat for the draw next weekend. In Rugby Regional 2 Northwest, Douglas lose at home to Birkenhead Park by 17 points to 3. Women's NC2 North, absolute fantastic victory for Vagabonds ladies. They win by 31 points to 10 over Crewe and Nantwich. And in the Harford Homes Manx Cup, Southern Nomads beat Vagabonds by 21 points to 7. In Hockey Ladies Premier League, the league leaders are beaten by 2-1 by Backers A. Elsewhere, Castletown A take the derby by 8-1 over their B team, and Harlequins A get a big win over Vikings A. Men's Premier League wins for Harlequins A, Vikings A, and the league leaders continue their unbeaten run with a 3-1 win over Valkyries A. Ladies Division 1, Valkyries A beat Backers C, and it's 1-1 between Ramsey A and Backers B, and Vikings B and Castletown C. Men's Division 2 wins for Valkyries B and Valkyries C, and we're looking for that result between Ramsey A and Backers B. If you know it, 166 177 on text. Ladies Division 2, a big win for Valkyries C that keeps them top of the league over Castletown D, and an 8-goal thriller in Ramsey between Harlequins B and Ramsey B. 4-4 draw. Men's Division 2 wins for Harlequins C, Backers Colts, and a 6-goal thriller ending 3-3 between the top two in Men's Division 2 between Backers C and Vikings C. And finally, in the mixed under-15s league, a win for Harlequins over Vikings. And that just about concludes things here on Manx Radio Classified. Thank you as always for your company. Big thank you to Tony Mepham and Dave Christian as always. They'll return next week when Rob Pritchard will be back with us, and he'll be in the studio and in the chair for Friday Sport Preview and Classifieds. But we are heading down to the bowl now for FC Alaman against Uxton and Villa. Can FC Alaman get more points on the board this weekend? Come on, you Ravens! Your commentary team for FC Alaman against Uxton Villa are Darren Timpson and Tony Mepham. Have a great rest of your weekend. Stay safe. Speak to you all again very soon.
Manx Radio Sports, brought to you by The Print Shed. Visit theprintshed.iom.com today to set up your personalised web shop for your sports club or business.